Hey everybody, Cokeman 250 here. Listen, had a lot of questions about going to a 15-year mortgage. And, I talked about it briefly on my last video, but Life and Farmland asked I believe he asked if my payment changed much, went up much. And, I wanted to throw this out there and answer that question, and there was some other questions I had about it. Let me just tell you my story on it and what I had to do to make it work for me. And believe me, this was something I prayed on for a while, and I put numbers together for quite a while. I went over the numbers, I went over numbers, I changed numbers, I went over new numbers. This was a process for me, and it was kind of stressful. Me and my wife for the last 8 years or so have been trying to just get out of debt. There have been little things here and there to come along that have added debt to us. But one of my main things was I wanted my house paid off. And whenever I bought my house 11 years ago, I had a 30-year mortgage, and I had 6.5% interest. In 2014, I refinanced my house for the same amount of months that I owed on it, the same amount of money that I owed on it, and I went down to a 4.5% interest rate. And yeah, sorry about that. My boy's cleaning the chicken water. What it is, so I went down to 4.5%. Well, I owe about 19 years on my house right now, 19 and a half. And I started looking at these 15-year mortgages, and because they have some exceptional rates right now. I think they fluctuated just a little bit since I locked my interest rate in at 2.9 is what I refinanced at. But I think now I looked, and they've been fluctuating from 2.9 to 3.2, somewhere in there. They're still really good rates. But that's what I did. I locked in a 2.9 interest rate. I dropped down to a 15-year mortgage, so I shaved 4.5 years off my mortgage. But to be able to do that, my payment was going to go up, and I'll just throw some numbers out here. I don't owe a lot on my house, probably inequivalent to a lot of people. But I added, with going to a 15-year mortgage, my payment was going to go up about $250 and a month. And I wasn't easy with that. I didn't set good with me. So they asked if I wanted to get some of the equity out of my house, which I haven't done that, and I've been paying on my house for 11 years, so I got some good equity built up in it, and I've always usually paid more than my house payment. So I do have some equity built up, a pretty good amount, and about half, actually. Half of what I have, what my house appraised for, I owe about half. So I have a substantial amount of equity in my house. But anyway, I figured some numbers up, and for me to be able to do that, I needed to pay off something else. And at first I was looking at maybe my truck, that would impact a pretty good size payment a month. But I only owe about 3.5 years on my truck. I don't want to roll that into a 15-year mortgage. So I looked at a couple things, and I had two small loans. I had one that was about $5,000, and I had another one that was about $5,000. One would free up $400 a month, and one would free up $170 a month. So together, that's $570 a month. So I got out $10,000 of my home equity. Still got plenty of equity left, but I got $10,000 out of my house's equity to pay off these two small loans. That freed up $570 a month, which my payment increased $250 a month. So now we're back down to $320 a month. I hope that math is right. You never do math on camera. But that I still freed up $300 something a month. I wasn't having any problems making my payments. I was looking for the interest rate reduction, and that's what I've always worried about, because that's hard-earned money that I'm making just going out the door to somebody. So I wanted to get the interest rate on lower, and by doing so and taking a little bit out, I'm actually freed up $300 something a month. So I'll probably stick that $300 something a month. I'm going to try to roll it into the homestead. I'm going to try to roll it into some prepping stuff. And the reason for that is because that's kind of incremental money in my pocket each month. And my whole long-term goal this past week was my 16-year anniversary with the company I work for. And at 30 years, I can retire. And I'll be 48 years old. So that's 14 years away, which my house, there, hence the 15-year mortgage. If I work another 15 years, then my house is paid off. I'm 49 years old, and I have no home mortgage. Hopefully by then, with putting a little bit back each month and working on the homestead here and there with some money I freed up now, I'll have a pretty good homestead in action to retire with. And that's my whole purpose of homesteading and preparedness. It's awesome if something emergency comes up or something comes up, but realistically, I'm setting myself up to save money each month by getting eggs from the chickens, by, doing things like that around the homestead, gardening, saving on my food bill. But realistically, it's setting me up for retirement. And I don't mean retiring from work. I mean retiring from working for the man. And that means I can spend more time with my wife, more time with the family, more time enjoying life than working for the man. I love my job, so it's not like, it's a drag going to work every day. But, there are times when I'd like to sleep in a little bit and kick back on the porch and have a cup of coffee or a pot of coffee, eat some deer summer sausage and hang out on the porch on a nice crisp fall winter morning. I love that. This is my time of the year we're coming into. But that's where I'm at. For me, I had to get a little bit of equity out to free up a little monthly money. I will put a warning on this. If you have equity in your home, you can get out a lot of money, and you can blow a lot of money, and that's okay. It just wasn't the right recipe for me and what fit my retirement goals. I have a goal, and my goal is to be set up when I'm 49, 50 years old to retire, or where I can. I mean, if things are going great, I just might keep on working. If the homestead's moving along and everything's working hand in hand, I may work till I'm 70, 80, whatever. But I want the option. I don't want to be stuck without an option. And that's what I'm trying to set myself up to do. If you can go out and you can get all the equity in your house and you can roll it into a 15-year mortgage, you can pay off all your loans and all this and have a little bit higher or a big, huge house payment, that's fine. Have one payment instead of all those little payments. But when it all come down to it for me, I kept thinking I could do without a vehicle or a newer vehicle like I have. I could do without a couple things. I could drive a couple older vehicles if something happened. But how hard would it be to come up with a huge house payment? So I kind of hit a happy lower medium, I would say. I had put numbers together thinking, man, I'll just get all my equity out and pay off everything I own and have one house payment a month, and I'm still going to save money that way. I'll still have more money a month. But if something was to happen, could I come up with $1,200 a month? It's a lot easier to come up with a smaller amount than it is a larger amount. I could mow some yards, I could paint some houses, I could who knows, I work on vehicles. I could do some of that. I could do some, whatever, I could do a few things probably to come up with a little bit of money a month if it came down to it. And that's where I was. You just have to find a happy spot where you feel good about it. And I found my happy spot where I feel good about it on, the amount of equity I want to take out of my house and to get me to a 15-year mortgage. But I really believe the 15-year mortgage is the way to go. And I also believe that the less interest rate you can get, the less money you're throwing away. You know, all that interest rate, if you go up a whole percentage rate, you know, that money, you might as well just light it on fire because it's gone. So the lower interest rate you can get, the better you're going to be. But I just wanted to talk about kind of what happened with my situation on going to a 15-year mortgage, and maybe to help some of you guys decide to do something like that, or just look at your finances and to see what you can do to free up some money monthly. You know, even consolidating a few debts sometimes to free up some monthly, but you always watch out, because a lot of them debt consolidation companies and all this kind of stuff, you know, they do what they're supposed to. They make money. You know, it's just like a lot of these engine treatments and different things you can buy. You know, those things do what they were made to do. They were made to make money. And that's what they do. You know, they may tell you it's going to do something and do this or that, but there's a reason that somebody come up with that idea. And it's because they want the money that you worked hard for so that they don't have to. You know, my time is worth a lot to me. And that's whether it's my time working or it's my time kicking back with a family or kicking back out here relaxing, having a cup of coffee. So find that happy medium, find where you feel good, but at least take a look at your finances and see what you could do right now. You know, sometimes you just get stuck in that old, you know, you're paying the same bills over and over, and you get caught up in it, and you're just throwing money here, throwing money there. You got all this stuff. Look at what you're spending and evaluate it. See what you can do. Sometimes you can tweak something just so little. Sometimes you could call your car insurance company. I called my car insurance company here a while back, and I ended up saving $40 a month just by calling them. And we looked at my policy. Still got all the same limits and coverage, but there was a new policy out there that was a little bit cheaper, and it had less stuff like if you're in a car accident and your pet's with you, there's $15,000 coverage for your pet. Well, there was a new policy that didn't have that. So there's little things. Call up, check on things, look at your finances and evaluate it. It's a new year coming up, so this is a great time to start doing it. Anyway, this is Coke Man 250 from the land of the free, the home of the brave. God bless everybody, and remember, prep smarter and pray harder.